gives our brand its purpose. So we need to differentiate to thrive, or if you prefer to look at the other way, differentiate or die. There are 3 ways that you compete in the marketplace. Can anybody tell me the 3 ways that one can compete in the marketplace? What's the first way? I want to beat my competition. How could I possibly beat them? Price, yes. Are you guys a price house? No? Oh, then you're screwed. You're already losing. What's the second way you can win? If not price, what's the second way? Differentiation, yes. Differentiation. Actually, I think about the second way is muscle. More feet on the street, more brand support. Like we outspend the competition. Our share of voice is, 80% when our brand share is like 30%. You guys have that? 80% share of voice versus, 30%? 80% of the market? Probably not. So there's only one place you can win, and that's differentiation. And at the heart of that differentiation is this thing that I refer to as the brand idea. It's the theme of your brand positioning. It is truly an idea that's highly emotive. Because as I mentioned to you, your compounds, your products are commodities. I say that they're eggs. They're eggs. Every egg. All same dimensions, you name it. Now don't get me wrong. I love eggs. I eat eggs every single day. I start my morning off with some eggs. Now I will tell you that I hate soft-boiled eggs. I can't get them down. They're kind of slimy. You know what I'm saying? I love fried eggs as long as they're cooked over easy. I'm not crazy for hard-boiled eggs, but I love my wife's deviled eggs. Scrambled eggs are okay, but give me a good omelet. So what I'm basically saying to you, your compounds are eggs, but it makes a difference in terms of how you serve those eggs up. And there are truly so many ways to serve up those eggs. So I'm of ethnic background. I'm Polish American, Italian American. My mother's Italian. This is the way she made eggs for my brothers and I when we were boys. I love it. Still my favorite way. The only thing is she put it in Italian bread instead of, regular bread. And that was the way we had our eggs. And by the way, your egg could be an ingredient in something else, some other treatment regimen. There are so many ways to serve up the egg. That's the brand idea. I'm going to give you a basic example of a brand idea, and I'm going to talk about antiperspirant deodorant category. So you should know that on February 21st, my wife and I were married 45 years. I've been married all my life. I met my wife in 1969, and that's, if I count up the decades, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000, that's 6 decades. Now, when I first met my wife, she was crazy about me, really crazy about me. And I don't know if I could say this in a pharmaceutical company, but she couldn't keep her hands off me. And well, today, 6 decades later, I sometimes feel unappreciated. As a marketer, I'm not immune to advertising, and maybe you know that brand from Unilever called Axe. Do you know Axe? Yes, Axe. What is the brand idea behind Axe? Say again, please. Irresistible, yes. You're a chick magnet. And I wanted to be a chick magnet to one particular chickadee, and that's my wife. And so, on one of my out-of-town trips for business, I stopped in a store and went to the shelf to buy some Axe. It so happened that there were a couple of young women in the same aisle. I didn't want them to think I was a dirty old man. And so I made believe I was examining the product. I pulled it off the shelf and Okay, they're around here. Let me look at the back. And I noticed the ingredient. And I put it back on the shelf. These gals were still there. And so I moved down the aisle to my brand, Sure. I guess you spell it S-U-R-E. I can't quite say it, but Sure deodorant. And that's my brand. And the basic idea is confidence and all-day protection. I looked at the back of it, same ingredient. At this point, I was curious. Sure, which makes, Procter & Gamble, which makes Sure, also makes Secret. So I went down the aisle and looked at Secret. And what's the brand idea for Secret? Strong enough for a man, but made for whom? Yeah. Same ingredient. So here I'm looking at 3 eggs, all of them with some basic aluminum compound, 3 eggs, but there were 3 distinctly different brand ideas. That's a brand idea. That's what we need to do to make our marketing matter. We've got to find out what is the purpose, what is the why behind our brand. And you guys are so lucky. You're so darn lucky. People ask me, Richard, which sector do you prefer to work in? Is it the consumer sector or is it the pharmaceutical or medical device sector? Well, of course, I'm very comfortable with the consumer sector. That's where I grew up, was in the consumer sector. Those people speak the same language that I do. But I really appreciate the pharmaceutical sector because what you guys are doing is improving quality of life and extending life. And that's a real gift. And as I think about, my advancing age, that becomes even more important to me. You've got one hell of a purpose. I get pissed off, not when I don't make my top line, when I know that there are patients who deserved my brand and that they didn't get that treatment. That's what really upsets me. And I like that you guys are in the diabetes area. I will tell you something personal. I guess I've told you a lot of personal things. But 8 years ago, when I turned 60, I was diagnosed as being pre-diabetic. My mother's diabetic. Both her parents are diabetic. Their parents were diabetic. My father's mother was diabetic. I went to a diabetologist. My wife dragged me there. And I was told, I think I'm monogenic diabetic in the sense that 3 generations or more of having diabetes. But as I said, pre-diabetic, I've controlled it with diet and exercise. My A1Cs are down like around 5.3 nowadays. So keeping it on. But your purpose, what is the purpose? What is the why behind your brand? I came across this quote by Mark Twain. He said, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Discover the why for your brand. And by the way, it's going to go beyond clinical. So